All or nothing for the Oilers. Can Connor Bedard keep up with the hype? And can the Vegas Golden Knights repeat? All in today's 14:20 in the morning. Let's get into her.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. 14:20 in the morning for this 21st day of September 2023. Today's show is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to BellyUpSports.com for all of their great articles and other podcasts. Actually, I'm going to be on the Corner Booth podcast later on tonight. Make sure you guys check that one. I'm going to talk some football with Jared and the boys. It'll be a lot of fun. Anyways, and thank you very much for being a part of our part of the show every day, each and every day here at 1420 World Headquarters. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching this later on, or if you're listening on the podcast forum later on. We thank everybody for all the support, as always, here from 1420 World Headquarters. Well, the NHL training camps get underway today. All the on-ice stuff start happening today. Practice are probably happening as we speak. All the off-ice stuff was going on yesterday. The training, the physicals, all the stuff that nobody actually cares about. I don't think anybody ever really, the superstars don't get cut. They're always in good shape anyways nowadays. It's a different game now than it was 20, 30 years ago when you went into training camp to get in shape. Now you have to come to training camp in tip-top shape, or who knows what might happen. But it's one of those things. It's all happening now. It's all on the go. There's a lot of teams that are on the brink of winning a Stanley Cup. There's a lot of teams that think they got a chance to win. There's a lot of teams that have no hope in winning a Stanley Cup. I got three storylines that I want to talk about that are really big today. We talk about the Western Conference today. Tomorrow morning I'll do the Eastern Conference. But there's three storylines that are quite intriguing for me this year for the Western Conference. And it's pretty easy to talk about, pretty easy little topics. Number one, will the Edmonton Oilers actually do something this year? Will they win a Stanley Cup? Is there any hope in oil country to finally get it done with Connor Bedard or Connor McDavid? Sorry, it's already on my head. With Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and company, is there a chance that they're going to get this thing done finally once and for all and get a Stanley Cup back there for the first time since, what was it, 1990, when the last time that they pulled one into northern Edmonton there? It's not even really northern Edmonton. It's kind of central, but that's the way things kind of work. Anyways, it's almost now or never time for the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid to win themselves a Stanley Cup. McDavid volunteered his teammates actually to get to Edmonton 2 weeks early to take part in the captain skates, they call them. I'm sure every team has this going, but he's got a full buy-in from his Oiler teammates this year to be on the ice to get things going so they can hit the ground running today. So they've already been at it for the better part of 2 weeks. They're in Edmonton at Rogers Place. You got to think that this is the do or die, shit or get off the pot kind of a situation for the Oilers. Last time, to be the last team standing, they got to find something to get it done. The last 2 years, the Oilers have lost the eventual Stanley Cup champions, Vegas in 2023 and Colorado in 2022. They're basically running the same team back that they have the last couple of years, and really, why not? They got the best player to ever play the game, not the greatest, but the best player to ever play the game in Connor McDavid. Wayne Gretzky's still the greatest, obviously. And then he had 153 points last season, and all the hardware required that could possibly get him into the Hall of Fame. He's probably a guaranteed Hall of Famer. All it is right now. He's won the everything but a Conn Smythe and a Stanley Cup. He's won all the scoring titles. He's won all the Rocket Richards, the MVPs. You can only win the Rookie of the Year once, the Calder Trophy once. He got that. So there's nothing really left for Connor McDavid to do in his 153 points, but to win a Stanley Cup. And this year has to be the year, I think, to get it done. You factor in another thing with Leon Draisaitl. Draisaitl is got 1 year left after this year to win to get something done with the Oilers, or else he might be getting shopped around a little bit. It might sound ridiculous, but he's going to want a big raise. He's probably the best bargain in hockey right now at 129 points last season in his sleep. You got to think that this guy's going to want a big raise, and whether they can get a deal done next off season prior to the season starting is kind of something that's got to happen with the Oilers. He's going to want 13, 14 million bucks, and that'll put him above what McDavid gets paid. McDavid's fine. He'll be defined financially. He'll get a new contract because his is done in a couple of years. But you got to think the Draisaitl McDavid combination has to get it done this year. They're going to be looking to trade to make a deal so they don't just lose Draisaitl for nothing. Do you trade a generational talent like that? No, I don't think you do. You have to get that thing signed, but you got to think that just maybe, there is a chance that Leon Draisaitl, this could be his last full season in oil country, playing for the Oilers and everything else. They should have a good chance to do some damage this year if they can get the power play going, which was basically automatic last season. They were tolling around at a rate at one point from 45-50%. It seemed like they were scoring at will, and in the playoffs they were doing quite well as well. Zach Hyman was a great addition last year. I think he had 86 points. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was right there with over 100 points, I believe it was. And so you got to think that this team, running this team back, what they have was the right thing to do. They asked Sam Gagner, ex-Oiler, to back in the fold on a professional tryout. He might not hurt that team at all. And coming back to having that little bit of extra veteran leadership in the dressing room and having something there with a Gagner, that's the kind of guy that you want around your dressing room. It can't hurt having a guy at the league minimum too, probably having one of those guys like that. It's going to be interesting how that all pans out in Edmonton. The biggest question mark that I have about this Oilers team is obviously between the pipes with Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner. Skinner was awful in the playoffs last year. There's no getting around that. I'm not saying that they lost. Well, yeah, I'll say it. The reason why the Oilers lost in the playoffs to the Vegas Golden Knights, eventual Stanley Cup champion Golden Knights, was because Stuart Skinner couldn't stop anything. He was quite bad. He wasn't good enough. He flat out was not as good as Aiden Hill, which is crazy because who is this guy Hill? What Hill did that Skinner didn't. Hill makes all the hard ones, a few of the easy ones, and that's what I said about goaltending. That's why I couldn't do it. I couldn't stop the hard ones or the easy ones. So it's one of those things. But you look at a guy like Skinner, he's got to get a lot better between the pipes, and he's got to get a lot more mentally strong. He's a year older, so he should be a year better. And having that experience last year, knowing what he had to do this year to right the ship a little bit and be the number one guy between the pipes for the Oilers, he's playing on a new contract this year, so it should really help Stuart Skinner and the Oilers get something done. Jack Campbell, I don't think he's got it between the ears at all. He's kind of, I don't want to say he's a mental midget, but it just seems like when things go bad, it's a woe is me. And he kind of plays he plays the woe is me card a lot, and I don't think that he's the guy. Jack Campbell fooled me when he was with the Leafs. I thought he was going to be a great, no matter what. He played that one great year with the Leafs and got that contract, $4 million a year with the Oilers. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. They got to get some goaltending. They got to get it done this year. This team needs Skinner to be the guy. They're going to score enough goals. Can they outscore teams in the playoffs? That's all they have to do is outscore. Yeah, hockey's that easy. Outscore your opponent. But as long as Skinner can be above average and not bad, the Oilers have a really good chance of getting something done. And they want to. You really want to get this thing done now because you don't know how many more chances the Oilers are going to have to get this thing done. Like I said, McDavid's 8 years into his career, 2 years left on this deal. Draisaitl might be leaving. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, no spring chicken, although he still looks like he could be in high school dances, for Christ's sake. But it's interesting to see how it's all going to pan out with the Oilers. Can they get it done? Yes. It's going to be very tough to get by the Stanley Cup champion Las Vegas Golden Knights. We're going to talk about a little bit later on. Is it going to be tough to get by a Colorado Avalanche team who's Nathan McKinnon's a beast out there? If he can be healthy all season long, it's going to see how it's interesting to see if the Oil and the faithful out in oil country, if they can get that job done this year. Will they? I don't know. It's going to be a tough road, but McDavid having those guys come a little bit early this year and getting them to the rink a little bit earlier this year and getting to Edmonton and saying, okay, we're committed to doing this. And he's the one leading the charge. He seems like a man possessed, wanting to get that Stanley Cup trophy and get himself into that legendary status. There's a lot of guys who don't win Stanley Cups, but with all the hardware that he's got on his mantle already, you think that McDavid, he's got to get that one done this year. And I think between his ears, he might know that this might be the last year to get it done with the Draisaitl contract coming up and everything else, and the way that your window to win it can be so small. He's 26 years of age, where he's still young, but the hockey's a lot different now. Guys don't play 15, 20 years anymore, and year in, year out, if you don't get it done, next year land is always next year land. You might not get another chance, and this might be the best chance the Oilers have. They have to get goaltending. It's the easiest thing to say about any championship team, but championship teams never win with bad goaltending. They can win with mediocre goaltending if their team is great, but they can never win with bad goaltending, and that's simple. It's that simple, and they have to get good goaltending out of Skinner. I've always said if you have two number ones, you don't have a number one, and they have to give one guy the reins, let him run with a little bit, get their playoff stance set early so they can sit Skinner near the end. Because like I said, I personally don't think that Campbell is strong enough between the ears to go through the rigors of a 16-win playoff, 4-round playoff stretch run. He's just not that kind of guy. He did have that one really good game in the playoffs last year, but he's just not the guy to get it done. And Skinner's got to be. He's 1 year older. He's got to be 1 year better and earn some of that money, the contract he's getting. It's one of those things. Number 2 on my list of what's the storylines going into the Western Conference this year. It's going to be what will Connor Bedard do with Chicago Blackhawks? What are the expectations? Will he match the hype that he's got going on for him this season coming up? The number 1 overall draft pick out of the Regina Pats. And let's cool it. Let's all just cool it with the 3 goals he scored in that rookie game or the rookie showcase game against the St. Louis Blues rookies the other night. Yeah, it was fantastic. But you know what? He's supposed to do that. He's been doing that his entire career. He did it in Regina. He scored 117 points or 71 goals last year and 123 points, whatever it was. The kid can score. We know that. He did it in the World Juniors last year. We know the kid can score against that kind of talent. We know what he is against the younger generation, against people his age. I get it. So let's just cool it. The bigger storyline would have been is if he didn't do that. That would have been a bigger story. That if he didn't go out and snipe a couple 3 goals and get the assist, that would have been a bigger storyline. So let's cool it. It's a nice little story. It's good for Hawks fans to be excited, but let's cool it when he starts playing with the big boys and playing against guys that are grown men and NHL caliber goaltenders, not guys who look like me in there. Then we'll see what he's got going on. The thing is going to be, now that he's playing with the big boys, you got to remember that he's going to a team that only had 26 wins last season, and 26 wins and on a second to last place team in the league. Yes, you got to remember that the Chicago Blackhawks won the draft lottery, and to do that, you got to be a terrible hockey team that didn't have much going on last year. Now that Bedard is going to be out there playing with the terrible hockey team, what's he going to be able to do playing with guys like that? Just ask guys like the rebuilds are hard, and building and winning championships are hard. Yes, it has been done in the past. Yes, rebuilds can be quite successful, but sometimes it takes a while. Chicago Blackhawks had their rebuild with Kane and Taves. They won the 3 Stanley Cups, and they got it done in 10, 12, and 14, I believe. So that was a successful one. Sidney Crosby, when they got him first overall, the Pittsburgh Penguins, they got their 3 Stanley Cups. So it can be done. It is possible, but there's a lot of teams who don't win Stanley Cups and rebuilds. You look at like that. Well, there's the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid, and how they're not getting it done after 8 years. McDavid, how the Toronto Maple Leafs haven't got it done when they rolled the 18-wheeler down the highway, went over the cliff, and called it good to get Austin Matthews. They obviously haven't got it done. So winning is tough. And the thing about the Blackhawks rebuild right now, they don't have that second guy. Like I talked about the Patrick Kane, and I talked about Jonathan Taves on the Blackhawks, and they had some great defense there with Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook as well. So you can't forget that. And then you talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins with they had Sidney Crosby, also had a guy by the name of Evgeny Malkin, who's a Hall of Famer, top 50 player of all time on his play on that same team, and a really good goaltender in Marc-Andre Fleury. So winning a rebuild can be done, but it can be really tough. They brought in Corey Perry. I love Corey Perry on a 1-year deal for $1 million. They brought in Taylor Hall. They brought in Nick Foligno to mentor Bedard to see what he can do to help out to teach the kid how to be a pro. The kid knows how to play hockey, but being a pro and playing 82 games, being away from home, traveling across the country, and on and on and on, and the media pressure that's going to happen with Connor Bedard and the attention he's going to get is going to be very tough. So you got to think that having him out there and getting those 3 or 4 guys, the aging veterans, are not going to help you a whole bunch, but having those aging veterans can hurt the team, but will they help the team? It's going to be hard to replicate what Crosby did, what Kane did, what Taves did. It's going to be really hard to get that done. And like I said, McDavid hasn't got it done in 8 years. Bedard's a really good player. Is he going to be a great player? Who knows? The kid's 18 years old. He's shown he can do it against his peers, but can he do it against the big boys and do it against men? It's hard to say. I don't know if he will get it done. Is he going to get 100 points this year? I doubt it. Is he going to score 50 goals this year? I doubt it. I'm not saying he won't, but I'm saying the kid's got a legendary shot, a legendary release. It's really, like, I've seen him here in Lethbridge a couple of times. He's a hell of a player, and he can shoot the puck. I found him to be a bit of a floater, but was playing against junior age caliber and whatever. weren't, and the Regina Pats weren't very good. So I found it to be a bit of a wait and see what happens. But that's just me, and that's old guy get off my lawn speak. But I think he's going to be like a 32, 33 goal guy, 40 assists, 72 point, 75 point kind of a guy. That's my prediction. The Hawks will finish out of the playoffs again. To make the playoffs, it's tough. You got so many teams just ahead of you right there. You can think of 3 or 4 or 5 teams right now that aren't taking a back seat, and the Blackhawks didn't get any better. Yes, they're going to be better than they were last year with the additions they made, the aging vets that they got there that can only help that team, but they aren't going to be good enough to keep up with the rest of the Western Conference. And speaking of the Blackhawks, it wasn't Blackhawk at the end of the season. I wonder where Patrick Kane's going to end up. Is he going to end up back with the Blackhawks? Maybe it wouldn't be a bad thing for him to end up back there, because he can take the microphone away, because it would still be Patrick Kane's room. Welcome him back. It wouldn't be a bad move to bring him back at a reduced rate somehow. Find a way to get a deal done. It probably won't happen because of the other signings that they made. And then when they bring in Taylor Hall, that was basically saying we got to start a new generation, because the money could have been spent there and everything else. But you wonder where Patrick Kane is going to end his Hall of Fame career. It's going to be interesting to see. I think maybe you're back with the Rangers, maybe his hometown Buffalo. That might be another place that Patrick Kane might end up to finish off his legendary Hall of Fame career. And number 3 for me, storylines to watch of this NHL season coming up. That training camp started today. Can the Vegas Golden Knights repeat as champions? It's really tough to do in the salary cap era. Only 2 teams have ever done it. You talk about the 1.5 cups, that's what we call it here at 1420 World Headquarters, that Tampa Bay won, got the one in the bubble in 2020. You look at the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016, 2017. The great Sidney Crosby obviously won those 2 Stanley Cups with Evgeny Malkin up by his side, but it hasn't happened before that in the non-salary cap era. The 2000 or the 1997-98 Detroit Red Wings with those great Yzerman teams, Scotty Bowman coach teams, and on and on and on. But those teams were without a salary cap, and they could go to spend Little Caesars money nonstop. And the great, like he says, he's great. Ken Holland was the mastermind behind just signing players to these astronomical contracts. But winning a Stanley Cup in the salary cap era is tough. It's tough at the best of times, but winning a cup in the salary cap era is tough. Yes, teams have figured out how to circumvent the salary cap and the long-term injury reserve. Put this guy here, hide some money here, and do whatever that is to do. And the Vegas Golden Knights did that last year, getting Mark Stone basically to sit out most of the season. Came back for the playoffs, and with his long-term injury reserve, and they have Robin Leonard eating up some money. So Stone sat out most last year to rest his back. He's had 2 back surgeries in his career, but Kelly McCrimmon and crew have figured it out better than anybody how to get this thing done. And that was one of the reasons why the Vegas Golden Knights won that Stanley Cup championship last year. Can they do it again? I think they have a really good shot at doing it. One, they have really, 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 really big, strong, gritty, nasty a little bit defense led by 2-time Stanley Cup champion Alex Pietrangelo and 3-time Stanley Cup champion Alec Martinez, who got 2 with the LA Kings back in the 2010 eras. But you look at those teams, like that defense was strong, could move the puck, they did whatever they wanted, and they didn't give up many chances. And when they did give up chances, they weren't great chances. All they had to do was rely on a guy by the name of Aiden Hill, who nobody really ever heard of before. He just had to make all the easy saves, a few hard ones, like I said, and then they were on their way to winning a Stanley Cup, and quite easily last year in the finals against the Florida Panthers, who kind of blew their load a little bit in the second round against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But you look at this Golden Knights team. Jack Eichel's got a full year, hasn't been healthy a whole bunch throughout his career, but last year he led the playoffs in scoring for the Vegas Golden Knights. So it's a situation where they have a team that can do a little bit of damage. Mark Stone, if he can stay healthy-ish all year long, give him some time to rest and have one of those situations where he's got some time to play, and they got a good core there that can get it done. They're committed to winning. The biggest X factor that the Vegas Golden Knights have is that their ownership and management's commitment to winning. Owner Bill Foley's he said we wanted to win Stanley Cups in year 5 and only took one more by getting to year 6. When he signed William Karlsson to his big deal for 8 years, he said he wanted to see three Stanley Cups in that 8-year span with Karlsson on the roster. He got the one. They were talking about that when the pitchers were taken, getting the Stanley Cups. Says, there's one. We need 2 more out of you. And so Foley and McCrimmon are committed to winning, and they don't get emotions get in the way of anything that goes on there. If they see something that's not working right, they fix it. If they see the coach isn't winning, they fire him. They get it done. They get it done right now, and that's a huge factor, that they don't let emotion get in the way of anything, and they go out and they get it done, and they find ways to make this team better year in, year out. And that's something that a lot of ownership groups don't do. Yes, they try to win, but nothing like this. They're a little bit cutthroat. They're a little bit gritty, and I quite like that. I wouldn't bet against the Vegas Golden Knights return to the Stanley Cup Championships. I wouldn't see them. I don't see them not getting a chance to win themselves a Stanley Cup again, and that team's poised to win a few. They're young enough, dumb enough, and they go out and play. And they're, like I said, their management group is what can push them over the top. They don't care. They want to win. And McCrimmon seems to know the rules, and his group of analytics guys and their accountants, they seem to know the rules better than anybody else. They've been to Stanley Cup Finals twice in their 6-year existence. They won it the once. There's a lot of teams that don't get Stanley Cup Finals for in a lot of years. Talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, we'll talk about them tomorrow on the Eastern Conference. Three big stories. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all gets done. Vegas is going to be in tough, obviously, when they face the Oilers, who are poised to win one eventually. They got to get something done soon with McDavid, and you can't forget about the Stanley Cup champions the year before with the Colorado Avalanche. That Nathan McKinnon is probably one of the top 3 hockey players in the world, and so you got to think that he's going to be wanting to get back to the winner's circle. The Western Conference is going to be it's going to be a dogfight to get it, but I think that there's a chance that one of those 3 teams, the Oilers, the Colorado Avalanche, or the Vegas Golden Knights, have a very good chance of winning the Stanley Cup this year. The East is okay, but maybe that West is just over and above. Problem you got with that is that those 3 teams will beat each other up a little bit, and getting to the finals can be a little bit tougher, and it can wear you down. But it didn't seem to slow the Vegas Golden Knights down last year. It was a foregone conclusion when the finals started. They were going to beat Florida, and they proved they got it done. Should be an interesting season how it all turns out. Make sure you guys keep tuning in to 1420. We're getting more and more hockey-centric, more football-centric as we get going. And the baseball playoffs are getting going right away, too. So it's an exciting time of year to be a sports fan. So just make sure you guys keep tuning in to 1420. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll keep the hits on coming. Anyways, here's a little word from our friends at SeatGeek.
The foul baller. If there's a ball that's gone foul, he's gone to get it. Under his watchful gaze, all bevs, binoculars, and ballpark brats are safe. He's the only thing that stands between his section and certain destruction. That's why he only trusts SeatGeek with his tickets. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.
All right, on this day in 2008, the New York Yankees played their final game at the house that Ruth built, Yankee Stadium, versus the Baltimore Orioles in front of 54,610 people in the Bronx, New York. The Yankees improved their record on the season to 85-71, and Andy Pettitte got the win on the mound to improve his record to 14-14 on the season. Jose Molina became the answer to a trivia question that night as he hit the last home run at the old place, a 2-run shot off of Chris Waters in the 4th inning. The Yankees finished out of the playoffs that season, the last season at the old place, before moving across the street in 2009, where they won a new World Series.
That's a fair ball.
The new Yankee Stadium on this date in 2008. An emotional night there for me. I never got the chance to go there, but I got a couple of seasons here from Yankee Stadium that I purchased
I guess it's
quite some time ago. But anyways,
down to it.
happy 60th birthday to Cecil Fielder, born on this day in 1963 in Los Angeles, California. Fielder was drafted twice as an amateur, 31st round by Baltimore in 81, and then in the 4th round by Kansas City in 82. Fielder began his big league career in 1985 with Toronto, but really hit his stride after a couple seasons in Japan and signed with the Detroit Tigers for the 1990 season. He led the major leagues for 2 years with 51 home runs in 1990 and 44. He got the title. Jose Canseco was 44 in the 91 season. Fielder played 13 years in the big leagues with 319 home runs, 1,008 RBIs, a batting average of 255, 3-time All-Star, and a World Series in 1986.
That's only the 3rd ball hit over the roof in Tiger Stadium, bounced over. No one has cleared it during the game. In the fly.
His son, Prince Fielder, played the big leagues. They don't get along very well. I read out something that I can't remember what happened there, but him and his son don't see eye to eye and haven't spoken to each other in years, I guess. So I don't know what the deal was there, but probably none of my business. If they don't want to talk, who cares, right? It's not going to affect my life anyway. Anyways, there's 14:20 in the morning for this 21st day of September. That song's in my head now. September. Anyways, that's 14:20 in the morning. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. listen to the podcast about a whole bunch more. You can listen to all the episodes. We've got a lot going on. Like I said, I'm on the Corner Booth podcast with Jared and the boys tonight. Another Belly Up network. Going to talk some NFL football. And then Dave and I are going to get into our usual Thursday night shenanigans, beer, sports, and shenanigans, like we say later on tonight. So that should be a busy day here, but lots going on. So make sure you keep following the show and enjoy it. And that's all I got. Anyways, make sure it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a great day, folks, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with the sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.